Right, welcome back to another episode of the Beard Invades. As you can see, I'm at my one of my most favourite places in the world, other than my workshop on my bed. Right, so I'm going to head in now and catch up with Dan. Dan's going to be giving us a little bit of a tour and a bit of history, and he's going to show us kind of things that they sell at Yandles. Right, I'll see you in a minute. Are you coming or what? Let's go! Dan's quite busy in the tool shop at the moment, so what I've done is I've taken the opportunity to come over and check out the hobby shop. It says arts and crafts, but this is it's more of your small hobbies, you know, your painting, card making, all sorts of stuff like that. So let's have a little wander inside. Okay, so the girls don't want to be on camera, so I've got to respect their privacy, but they want me to tell you that they got a fantastic, what was it? Art department. But I'll have a little wander around. And fabric and all sorts of lots of loveliness, right up my alley. But look, I mean, what are these? These are card envelopes. Anyway, let's have a little wander around. So you've got literally all sorts. I mean, there's buttons, there's sewing stuff, needles, all that kind of stuff. Fabric. Oh, look at all this fabric. Zips, if you're into zips. I think this is like card making and things like that. There's also lots of stuff for the kiddies to do. Cross stitch. Literally ribbon. There's loads of stuff. I mean, everything arty, crafty type of stuff you can think of. There's wool. I think this is like I've actually bought some bits from here before. This is for like necklace making and things like that. Beads. Oh, I forgot what they call this now. What do they call this? What do they call that when they stick all the bits of paper on there? What's it called? I can't remember what it's called. Look at that, that's cool, isn't it? Look at the colours on that. It's almost like a unicorn type ram. Yeah, knitting and crochet. Oh God, it'll come to me in a minute. I know what this is. I mean, you stick little bits of paper to it. Decoupage, that's it, decoupage. Very cool. Oh, look, a unicorn decoupage. Okay, I'm going to spin around this way because the girls don't really want to be on camera. They're really shy. And then obviously the art department over here. You've got brushes and acrylic paints and things like that. All sorts of different colours. Cardboard. I could spend hours in this shop just looking at all the arty stuff. I mean, they've literally got every type of paintbrush that you would want. Spray paints, acrylics. I think this is all the alright, so this is acrylic, and then there's all your boards. I can't face that way because they get all embarrassed and they go all red. Right, thanks ladies.
No worries. Thank you. Thanks ever so much.
Bye-bye. Right, let's go and see if Dan has finished. He's up to. Oh, I mean, shall we have a little wander with? There is actually a cafe as well. We can have a little wander in a cafe. Shall we do that? Let's do that. So there's the cafe. I think they do sell bits and pieces in there as well. So let's head in there and have a little look. Shout, so I'm hoping you can hear me. I'm actually inside the cafe stroke shop, art shop. This part that we're going to have a little look around now is kind of stuff, retail stuff. But when we go through into the other part of it, this is where makers and artists actually supply these guys with their work. So I think they've got about 65 different artists and makers that they use they display their stuff there, and they sell it on. I mean, the actual shop itself, I mean, yeah, you've got a lot of real nice stuff. Pottery, teas and things like that. They're pretty cool, aren't they? Fabrics. Oh, look at him. That's a lamp. Is that cool or what? Little rat. Oh. Now, see, Cheryl would love this, wouldn't she? Is that a mouse or is that a rat? I think it's a mouse. Anyway. That's the cafe in there. We'll go and have a little look in there in a minute. This is all the handmade stuff by local artists in the Somerset area. It's beautiful. Chopping boards. That's really interesting. I've got a small version of this at home. I love it. I might make that in the future. Now, what you've got to realise, at this time of year, guys, they're actually setting up for their Christmas display. So, although it looks perfect to me, the manager has said, "Oh, it's a bit up and down. It's a bit all over the place at the moment, but that's fine. We can live with it, can't we?" These look like little jigsaw type things. Look at that. Is that cool or what? Brilliant. This is glass. There literally is so much to look at in this shop. It's unreal. I mean, look at this. It's gorgeous, isn't it? Imagine that was a crack there that they've made into a feature. Oh, that's interesting. Look at that. These are actually laser cut and you build them yourself. That's great, isn't it? Great stocking fillers for the youngsters to get into making. Oh, that's gorgeous. We're not going to go into the toilets. Oh, now that is a beautiful bowl. Look at that. That's gorgeous. That looks like a tree. I like those. Can you see what I mean? There's just so much to look at and touch. I know I'm not saying a lot, guys, but I don't need to, do I? I mean, look at it. It's literally everywhere. Oh, look at that. It's a unicorn. See, I know someone that would love to make one of those. I reckon Dale could make that quite easily from the Maple Tree Studios. What's down there? Oh, I don't know. Oh, that's staff up there. Anyway, you kind of got the idea, haven't you? This is you could spend hours in this shop just looking around, and a lot of money buying stuff. So I'm going to try and find Dan now, see if he's cleared his backlog of customers. Love it. I'm going to keep Cheryl out of here because I think she could spend quite a bit of money. Right, so I've managed to pin Dan down for a minute. Now he's cleared his backlog of customers. If you've not checked Dan out before, if you've never seen Dan before, this is Dan.
Hi.
He was probably better known as the Wonky Workshop, maybe?
Yeah, or Yandles is probably.
Or Yandles. I didn't want to say Yandles, I thought you might be a bit...
Yandles is fine. We blame ours Hack Shack for Yandles, okay. But I've embraced it now, it's okay.
So I'll leave links to Dan's social media and that in the description below, along with all the other stuff that I'm going to leave in there. So so what's next then? What should we have a look at now?
So we're going to pop very briefly in the sawmill. They're not cutting anything at the moment, so it's relatively safe. You might just have to put up with some local radio, which I'd imagine you'll put some music over the top of soon.
Yes,
yeah.
I'll get rid of that.
We'll get rid of that. But yeah, we'll have a look at some of the old machinery and just some of the wood stacks, and just give you an idea of the size of the sawmill.
Right, okay. That is one huge piece of wood there, look at that. So last time you saw this, guys, was I'd imagine we came through there, didn't we? And there was you was down here somewhere?
I was down here in front of it. So all of this, we had stacked all of the timber up in front of here.
Yeah.
This is a good shot you won't get to see very often. So that's the other side of the blade. So the bandsaw, the blade goes all the way down and round. So that's the pit in to go in underneath to clear out all the sawdust.
Oh, I see the band. Oh, God, yeah. Wow. Look at that. This is something you don't see every day, guys. Wish I had a torch. But this is, yeah, the other bit of the bandsaw's down there.
See the blade because it's about 6 foot long.
Yeah. And there's the controls.
Yeah, so the easy wood stand was here.
Yeah.
Before, but all of this, we stack all our timber up in front of the saw. But this is our larger of the two bandsaws. We've got the smaller one over there. And the carriage on that slides in. We won't be doing any cutting today, so
right. So look at the size of this. Is that one huge blade or what? What's that? That's got to be 9 inches?
It's about 200 mil, so about 8 to 9 inches. And the one that's on there at the moment is single-sided, but we normally have a double-sided blade on, so coarse tooth on one side, fine on the other, so it's easier to swap round, because with a blade that size, it's cheaper to do that than it is to have lots of different blades.
I bet it takes quite a while to get that blade off to change.
Yeah, it does. It also costs us about £40 to start the machine running. Just the power surge needed to get everything moving costs around about the £40 mark. So yeah, we quite often, if they've got to do 10 or 12 cuts in a half-hour period, we'll actually sometimes leave the saw running with appropriate safety features in place, because it's cheaper than keep starting and stopping the machine.
This is heaven, and this will be heaven for a lot of people, I tell you.
Absolutely. So a lot of our imported timber floating around here in stacks. This is less than we would normally carry. We've got a lot of it over here. So if we come over this side, this is what I like looking at here, is when you can see we pull most of a tree.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So that's all sapele there, starting from the outer edge right the way through. And that's all in sort of 18 mil to 1 inch kind of stuff. We're ambidextrous here between metric and imperial for a lot of things.
Yeah, same here.
A lot of this machinery has been here for quite a while. So this is our edging machine, which is probably one of the oldest machines in the company. About the only thing that's been replaced on it is the measuring strip at the front. But this literally, we just put it on to get our straight edges onto timber.
Right. So what's the make of that? Wadkin.
Wadkin, yeah.
Wadkin.
British made.
Nice.
British made. Company, Wadkin still exists, but as Wadkin Burrs Green. So they still manufacture this kind of machinery, but we haven't bought anything from them for quite a while because it lasts, and you just service and repair it. We've got the crosscut saw over here is quite interesting. So a lot of our business is based around, certainly from the timber side, around the funerary trade. So we make crosses, we make cremation urns, and also the boards to make coffins. But we sell those to the undertakers who then make things up. So you'll notice there's quite a large aperture here.
Yeah.
Because we can fit this dado stack to it. So we use that on our cross cut.
Yeah.
And that will cut the exact size needed for the joints for the crosses, just for a lap joint we use on the crosses. So it's quicker and easier for us to batch them out like that. And again, that's an old Wadkin machine that's been in there for many years. Yeah. The name's covered over by our parts of our extraction system. But our latest machine, you see all the big machines around, the latest one that we purchased is actually over here. This little thing here, and this is a planer thicknesser that does all 4 sides at the same time.
Oh right.
So you set it and you say you want it square all the way round, or PAR, and you can push your timber through and it will square everything up all to that. Or you can set different moulding cutters onto it and do sort of your all like coving or your bull nose and all that kind of stuff on a load of stuff. But if you compare size-wise, miniaturisation is key, but a lot of money for the machines.
Oh, I bet.
We mentioned Wadkin Burrs Green. This is our thicknesser here. So this is a newer model, and this will do up to, I believe it's 600 wide. So just about the same width as your kitchen countertop we can do in a time going through there.
Cool.
This is the messy end.
Right.
So basically what we've got here is we've got a cart. So on the edge behind you, all the time we cut off strips to square it up. When we do, they get chucked on the cart. That gets turned into a bundle. The bundle then gets sold on for firewood or whatever people want, so that we've got as zero wastage close to as we can. These are all offcuts from our bowl blanks, as I'm sure you, Rich, are no doubt familiar with.
Oh yes, yeah.
This is how we gradually build up our scraps for sale for smaller craft items, or just if we found a blank or something that's got a split in it and we don't feel it's saleable. A lot of Purple Heart in this batch because that's currently what's been cut through. Yeah. And then we've got a lot up there ready to be waxed on the outer edge to reduce the chance of cracking and splitting. And then another big old bandsaw.
Yeah. Yeah, these were really popular at the Yandles show, weren't they?
Yes, they
I
always
bought
are
loads.
Yeah.
I mean, a piece of Purple Heart for what, £1.20?
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, it's ridiculous.
Yeah. That's a bit of cherry there. And we've got pieces of tulip wood or poplar. And they're great for little projects. They're great for getting kids started as well.
It's basswood, isn't it?
Yeah. So we've got to get a lot of kids. No, sorry, that's sycamore.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. There's an awful lot of kids who will come and see the funny shape, and we've had them come in sometimes and buy them just as like building blocks and stuff and sand them up, which is great. So anything we can do to encourage the next generation.
Plus, it's zero waste, isn't it? It's brilliant. You know.
Yeah. Another cross cut here. As you can see, the blade's still spinning at the moment.
Yeah.
Purely because my colleague is still using it, and again, to draw on the energy. But we've got a lock in place, so we can't actually utilise the saw without pressing his foot on the bar to swing it in and out. So
right. So this is when you see Yandles, the first thing that comes into your mind is this crane. I don't know about you, but for me, this crane, and then wood, and then tools. Dan's laughing at me, but anyway, right, so Dan's going to just tell you a little bit of history behind this.
Okay, so the crane was here a little bit before my time. We're not quite sure, it's a little bit muddy in the records. It was either 1937 or 1939 that this was installed, and it was installed by a Scottish company. And at the time, every sawmill in the country that was of any size had one of these kind of cranes. It cost round about £2,500 back then, which calculated now is about £60,000 in the UK. So still, not a cheap piece of kit. When I first started here 3.5 years ago, it still had the wooden cab around the outside of that, but if anyone can remember about 2.5 years ago when we had the massive storms and flooding throughout the UK, that all got ripped off overnight.
So did someone actually sit in there and operate
so
from
if
there?
you kind of come around this side, you can just about see what I call kind of the gear stick stuck on the little podium. So someone would be inside that little cab there operating the big boom on the outside. Now the boom itself is quite interesting. We only stopped using this crane in 2000 because it got superseded by buying a forklift truck, which is much smaller and much more versatile. But that boom is actually twice as long as what we originally ordered. So we ordered an 80-foot boom. The company came down with an 80-foot boom. They fitted it, and halfway through the assembly and the testing phase, the boom fell off and twisted and was beyond use. The only other one in the UK that was available to be installed was twice as long, 160 foot. So that's what we got, because it was their fault, they broke it, so they replaced it. So we actually got a crane twice as long and probably worth a lot more for the same price. So the boom, it is technically all still working. Obviously we don't run it up or test it. It's not been pack tested for a while. But it could potentially, with a bit of oil and a bit of elbow grease, become working again. There are no plans for us selling it or dismantling it or scrapping it or anything like that. It's very much going to be a permanent feature, and at some point in time when we have a bit of surplus cash, the idea would be to hopefully either restore it or the very least possibly build something like a raised walkway around it so people can get a bit of a closer look. But that's in no time soon. It's kind of one of those things that's a one-day project. But if you can see from the ladder right to the top, someone at some point did have to make sure it was well lubricated and maintained, and that would not be a job that I would like to be part of today, I have to say.
No.
But it's certainly a stalwart part of our business. Used to be used an awful lot for unloading elm trees, which was the staple tree we used to deal with an awful lot before Dutch elm disease. And then we've adapted and moved from that into all kinds of things, to certainly being known a lot more, not only for doing localized timbers but also exotic hardwoods as well. And you can also see banked up here when we mentioned earlier about the offcuts, so the sort of the strip bundles we were mentioning earlier over there, and then we also have the thicker bundles over here, which is, these are all offcuts from the green oak. So we ship our green oak in from Europe, predominantly France, and this is all the stuff that we've cut off the outer edge of the tree, all the bark edge of the tree, to get to the usable timber, as we would call it. And we sell these bundles predominantly, we call it firewood bundles, and they're priced to correspond to that. But if you want to take it on and dry it and do whatever you like with it, you are most welcome. But you have to collect it and take it away. We don't deliver those.
There is some nice bits in there, isn't there?
Yeah.
Look at that.
Bits of yew in there as well, some offcuts of yew down the bottom there.
Oh yeah. So what we're going to do now is we're going to head into the wood stores. Yeah. We're going to have a little look around there. I'll probably be dribbling by the end of this, but still, here we go.
Okay, so outside is where we keep a lot of our things like Western red cedar and our building material, and also our green oak. So our green oak is cheaper because it's very wet, which is also why we leave it outside. So you can get some good offcuts from here if you wanted outdoor projects and things. You've got to be aware that obviously as it dries it will move.
Yeah.
I'm only getting a plank of oak there for £8.
Yeah.
But that wouldn't be any good for building an indoor table or anything unless you dried it out in proper conditions for well over a year. And then we've got all of our kiln dried timber and air dried timber inside, and we've got a wide variety, a lot of oak on your left, and then we've just got masses of everything. So we've got a small amount of pear. This sort of section, which is much reduced at the show, was full of yew. That's all gone. I mean, the show is in September. We're now just about the beginning of November, so you can see that's only 6 weeks, and the yew's all gone. So we've got a bit of pear there. 2-inch black walnut.
Is this actual original from?
That's one part of the that's the outside of the original building. So if we go inside in a minute into the turning rooms. So I'll tell you about those buildings in a minute. So basically the The woodworking shop now is where they used to do all the finishing for the coffin boards.
Oh, right.
So
okay.
all of this
Yeah.
used to be part of the manufacturing. So if you look at the outside, you can see the roof there, the sort of the tin roof there. On the inside of that is a wooden frame, but there's no insulation.
Oh,
so this is very
okay.
much not a modern building, which is why I've got several layers on. But that's fine. That's part of the charm of working here.
Yeah.
It's not a problem at all. Yeah, and then we carry on through, and we've got all sorts here. We've got ash, we've got obankole, wenge, beech, hickory. We've got some maple in at the moment. Got some bird's eye maple. We've got a bit of that left. We had quite a good stack of that a little while ago. And then we've kind of got a separate room that used to be just for our exotic hardwoods, but a lot of that's spilled over now as we're buying more and more. But we've got some nice big chunks of Paduke, American black walnut, acacia, Jatoba, Paduke again. We've got some cherry, some more Jatoba. We've got some Bubinga down the bottom there and some nice big slabs. We've got some Zebrano round on the left next to some tulip wood and hickory. We've got some Rapallo lacewood. I'm just going to keep shouting names.
No, that's fine.
We've got steamed pear. This stuff over here is really interesting. This is Brazilian cedar. And if you smell that, which would be great for smell-o-vision, you recognise that smell? That's what you would normally find on the inside of cigar boxes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Brazilian cedar is really good for sort of keeping out the mites and things that would potentially damage and eat cigars. So that's all in that.
So it's like a natural antibacterial type of...
Yeah, for that kind of thing, sort of anti-insect, if you like. Some more very nice steamed pear there. And then we've got quite a bit of cherry in at the moment. And we've got some applewood as well. And we've got some American cherry as well. So we've got quite a big range of timber. This is all the slabby sort of plank stuff. We don't do much in the way of sort of your massive waney edge board stuff that you would see on a lot of American channels, partly because getting hold of it's not necessarily difficult, but we've got to make sure things that we sell are FSC approved, it's been harvested properly, and also it's dry. A lot of that stuff in the UK, if we were to go to local sawyers who go around with a horizontal mill, they're going to be logging stuff up. We're not 100% sure where they've procured it from, so that's a bit of a concern for us ethically. But even then, if they do, we've then got to stack it somewhere and dry it, and that's a 2 or a 3 year investment depending on how thick it is. And during that time, you've got to hope that nothing gets in and infests it and eats away at it or whatever. Particularly if you don't know if a tree's been felled because of infestation and it's not showing any sign of it when you get brought the timber, it's an extra risk. So we don't tend to have those kind of the big slab stuff that you might see at other locations, but we can certainly get hold of a lot of this kind of thing for you relatively easily. We're getting 2 or 3 deliveries a year of that kind of stuff. So. We've got 3 other timber rooms. This one we've got a lot of finished timber in because we recognise the fact that not everyone's got planer thicknesses or hand tools even necessarily. So when I said we don't carry much in the way of big slabs and things, we do have a little bit. We've got some of the wild mango and that kind of thing in at the moment, which we source through another company that comes in ethically sourced from Mozambique, pre-finished. Then we've got some regulated ones there, and we've also started stocking things like Purple Heart pre-finished. So this has been through that 4-way planer that I mentioned earlier, so it should be quite nice. You're still going to get a little bit of bits where you might have to sand a section off, but the majority of it is going to be 4-way planed very nicely, along with some teak and other bits. So obviously there's going to be a premium for that because we've in effect finished the timber for you, but it's not a huge amount of difference. But it means people who want to make up a load of shelving and things, and they're able to cut it.
Either way,
good to go.
20 quid.
Yeah, that's shipped. That's shipped in internationally with all the correct paperwork, ethically sourced, and FSC approved as well.
That's a great deal. Look at that.
Yeah.
You can't go on board with that price.
And then we head into the next room. So this is one of our bowl blank rooms. So we're predominantly focused on turning here. Well, that's what we're known for, is turning blanks. So we've got quite a wide selection of turning blanks. Got some good chunks of yew in at the moment as well, which we don't always have. And we've also got, if you look around the bottom scattered around, we've got some nice Australian burls in as well at the moment, of varying different types. So this stuff there is river flooded myrtle. We've got those, and then we've also got a few of the some other ones scattered around as well.
Yeah, they're all down the bottoms, aren't they?
Yeah. But again, there'll be some bits in here, so things like the African blackwood clarinet bells. So the clarinet bells, they're reject for making the end, what they call the bell end of a clarinet. That's why they're the shape they are. Occasionally we can get small spindle sticks, but not very often. But we've also got some ebony in here, which obviously we're not going to have in the big planks, just because of cost and availability.
Oh look, there's my glamorous assistant.
There she is.
Hello.
And then this is the second room, or first, depending which way round you walk into it. We're a bit low on Banksia pods at the moment, and people seem to have chucked some rubbish in there. But this would normally be filled with Australian Banksia pods, and then we've got all of the usuals in here. We've got sycamore and padauk and other things.
It's more the size of that. These are quite interesting.
Tagular nuts. Yeah, so Andy Heels carved a few of those. I know it's otherwise known as mock ivory. So once you peel the outside layer away, which I can't do without like a Dremel tool, it will look like ivory. It's a very nice kind of creamy white picture. And we get a lot of Netsuke carvers will contact us and get hold of these. Because they are, it falls off a tree. We're not harvesting it from any animals or anything. So,
and is there what's inside there? Is it just solid all the way through?
Yeah, it's just a dense sort of white creamy substance, and you can polish it up really nicely, and it looks exactly like ivory. I tend to find somewhere on each one that there's like a little void where you can start. But it's tricky to discover it with, as I say, without a Dremel tool, because the outside is pretty dense.
Just quick while I'm still in this room. This is just a bowl turner's dream. Dan just had a little wander around, but look at this: mahogany, ash, maple, and these are all different sizes. Starting what, 4-inch up?
So we do from 1-inch thickness and 4-inch diameter right the way up to sort of, we don't go thicker than 4-inch because you can't get kiln dried thicker than 4-inch because it never dries properly in the middle under that process.
Yeah.
But diameter wise, depending on the timber, as you'll see on some of the ash planks, we can go bigger than most conventional lathes. So a lot of your traditional lathes will go up to a 12-inch over the bed.
Yeah, mine
But
does.
if you can spin it and turn outboard, then you can fit much bigger on some of the newer Laguna lathes in just come into the UK that we stock. You can do 18-inch over the bed. This is something else worth noticing. So we've got all these different ash planks here, and then that one's heavily rippled.
Oh yeah.
If you find another one the same size, you should be able to see, if I can find one the same size. Yeah, there we go. Same size. Someone scribbled on that, so it's not easy to see. But we do it at the same price. We don't differentiate on the timber. So if you hunt through and you find a rippled piece, great. That's the thing. It's a treasure hunt. We don't pull it out and go, oh look, that's rippled. We can sell that on for another £100. Let's mark it up.
Yeah.
Because we've paid the same price for it from wherever it's come from. So we don't like to exploit that. We're all woodworkers ourselves. And we like the hunt through as much as other people. So we like to pass that on.
And they're all waxed as well. Every single one of them
reduce,
are all waxed.
the splitting and the chance of that. It's all paraffin wax. So it's really nice and easy to turn off. Sometimes people want to take these on and use them as like a base for a wedding cake and not do anything else to them, but you can easily scrape it off, or it's really easy to just melt off again.
Yeah.
You can just use a light blowtorch without scorching it and just melt it off.
I mean, look at this. That's a gorgeous piece.
So that's Iroko. Iroko is a really resilient wood. It's used an awful lot in schools for like their science labs, but the dust on that is highly carcinogenic.
Is it? Oh,
Yeah,
right, okay.
so it finishes lovely, but make sure, as with any timber, doesn't matter what it is, always make sure you're wearing proper respiratory protective gear, you've got air filtration working, you've got extraction on the lathe, because that will be your biggest killer. Some people react to different woods as well. Richard and I were talking just now about yew. The last known case of anyone actually getting poisoned by yew was a child who ate the berries in the early 80s, but it's still known to be potentially hazardous other than the dust, because a lot more members of the public would tend to react to the dust on their skin than other woods. The same could be said of rosewoods and also leylandi, which we don't sell, but you can turn if you were of a particular persuasion to do it and harvest it from some hedges.
I do know a few people that can't turn the leylandi because it or their arms come up in blotches.
Yeah, well, mine do as well, but that might be more due to a previous career after taking down about 40 metres of it in a day. I think my immunity was shot to hell after that. So, but yeah, it does react quite nicely.
So what's that? Oh, it's some mango.
So that's wild mango in slices again. So that's pre-finished and from Mozambique, and they're quite nice. We've had some people buy them as like placemats and things like that, or setting a clock in them. It works quite nice as an off-centre clock and things like that.
Oh, those pen blanks.
Those are pen blanks.
Look at that. That's gorgeous.
Yeah. So you've got there is a piece of black palmyra, otherwise known as palm. And if you look at the end grain, which is really interesting, black palmyra is basically, it's a grass. Yeah. So you can see all of the individual little bits there. We've got some pink ivory blanks as well. That's really nice to work with. A lot of people used to make jewellery from that. I think that's some, what we've got in there, some tambuti. And we've got some small ebony blanks as well, so anyone wanting to make some nice little ebony pens. And a variety of other things on there. What's that? Camel thorn. And these are new in, so I haven't got used to some of these. Chakati.
Oh, I've got a load of that at home.
Yeah. And some red palm as well, which I haven't seen before. So all kinds of things, really.
Some little sweet one around here. It's acacia, lime, which is bass. Lime is bass, isn't it? Basswood in America. Yeah. Wenge. Oh, I just love wenge. Just love that stuff. Look at that.
Splinters from that will give you will go septic pretty quick if you're not careful. Yeah.
American cherry, oak.
Bingo.
Bingo.
Super dense but gorgeous when it's polished up.
Is it? Lovely. And there's some more oak
There's
there.
some knobthorn here, which is always an amusing one.
Oh.
It's from West Africa. We've got some leadwood as well, which is, as it says, it's pretty dense.
Wow.
That's good for making mallets out of, if you can find a big enough piece. But
it's so heavy.
Unfortunately, we can.
3 kilos there?
Yeah, well, nearer 4 or 5 just for that piece, really. Yeah. And then we've still got some, if anyone's after any, we've got some kingwood, some nice kingwood and some bits of cocobolo as well. So the bowl you turned the other day, which was bigger than that, you can see that's how much this is pretty cheap. So all of this, so anyone starts shouting out and saying, well, that's illegal, you're not allowed to chop it down, they're quite right, it's on the CITES register. What we have here is stuff that was imported to the UK pre-CITES. So basically we got a phone call from one of our suppliers and he said, oh, we've been doing an inventory and we found a pallet that Dad lost in 1978. And on it was what's called Fletch, 1 of cocobolo and 2 of kingwood, so they were all still big chunks of it. And so we were able to buy it at the import rate back from the 70s, which is why we're able to do it this. So this is actually pretty cheap for what it is. But the funny thing about it was when we cut it up, it was still pretty wet. Yeah. Even though it had been sat on a pallet in an aerated proper storage room since the late 70s.
That's what I found with the live.
So this is pre-CITES, so we would not be able to export this outside of the UK, which is fine, but it is all legally procured and fully certified.
Yeah, I mean, that's £99 and that's cheap.
Yeah.
I mean, I wonder how much that piece I had cost.
That bolt length that you had, which was what, was 3 inch?
It was 2 inch.
Yeah.
And it was originally 14 inches.
Yeah, so you're probably looking best parts 200 250 pounds for that piece of timber at current pricing.
I'm glad I deprived the idiot of it. Anyway. Okay, so this is where the magic happens.
Yeah, so we put up our Christmas decorations.
Cool.
Which obviously we have to put up but not get in the way of anything. So, but yeah, so we're a big stockist for Record Power and Charmwood. This is all the machinery end of the shop. As he says, walking around the large tables. We've got the new Record Power lathes in, so lovely little heralds, and then their big brothers, the Envoy and the Regent. So they're all on display, so well worth coming down and having a look at those and that kind of stuff. But we also quite a lot on Hampshire. As you can see, the Narex chisel range, they're very nice tools. We've sold out a lot of those already. We've got some more on order. We've got some Japanese tools off in the corner. And then we're also stockists for Laguna. So we've got the big old Laguna lathe there. So these are all the American brand. We've got the bandsaw and the table saw on display, and also the big cyclone extractor, and also the smaller extractor as well. So all of these are on display and available to purchase from us. So we're quite diverse on our machinery, but we've also got Craigin and a bit of Triton and CMT and various other power tool accessories, all your router bits and that kind of stuff. And a wide range really. We cater for pretty much anything a woodworker would need as far as we can manage. If we haven't got it in shop, we can normally get hold of it pretty quickly. So yeah.
That's cool.
And the majority of our staff, as well, as I said before, are all themselves woodworkers as hobbyists. So a lot of us will have specialist areas. We might be wood turners, carpentry, joinery, furniture making, scroll saw work, marquetry, wood carving, all that kind of stuff. You can talk to pretty much any of us about extraction and what would be best for your system, and the different machinery you do or don't need. The other thing to be aware of as well, staff-wise, none of us work on commission. So we're not going to push you towards a machine and say, oh, you want to buy that because actually it's going to benefit us more. We will only sell you a machine that will meet the needs as far as you've told us about them. So if you've got a very small workshop that's not very tall, we're not going to try and sell you a bandsaw that's too big to fit it, because there's no point, it doesn't benefit you. But we will always do our best to try and make sure that you get the best value for money for what it is you're trying to do.
I did say that this is like, I'll be dribbling, but look at this, there's tools everywhere, literally everywhere. I mean, it's a tool shop, but look, I mean, there's a massive, everything record power that you could possibly imagine is here, I think. Scroll saws, sharpening systems, planer thicknesses, drills, everything. Literally, lathes, bandsaws, dust extraction. That's right. That's my next purchase there. I think one of these.
Yeah. One of our
for the missus.
Sellers, the Triton thicknesser.
For the missus.
Nice wide thicknesser. It's a good machine for the price.
You do a lot of Triton as well, you know,
Yeah, so when Triton first came over to the UK, we were approached because the company that owns them are only based in Yeovil down the road.
Oh, right.
And so we helped build Triton as a brand in the UK. So we're quite a big Triton stockist, and we deal with quite a lot of their machinery. 3-year warranty on it. It's good, solid machinery, and works well.
Cool.
Go the other side, we also deal with an awful lot with your standard accessories and things, so your kind of your clamping and all that kind of stuff. We've got from the cheaper end of the things, from Faithful round to the Bessie end of things, your more serious stuff. We also deal a lot with the Famag Forstner bits and that kind of thing. They're really, really nice German-made bits, clean very clearly. Yeah, that's a plug cutter. So they're not cheap, those plug cutters, but they work very, very well.
You pay for what you get, really get what you pay for.
Absolutely. So obviously we do Stanley, that kind of thing. And going back into the turning, we stock British-made tools from Robert Sorby. We've got the majority of their range there, and we do very well on the Pro Edge. So I'm apparently the resident Pro Edge expert, according to the manager, partly because I own one at home, but I'm happy to talk to anyone about that. And we do all the accessories for it, as well as also stocking Tormek sharpening systems from Sweden, which are again very, very nice machine, very good at giving you a very keen edge on a variety of tools. But we're also the only UK shops that stock razor tip pyrography gear, which I believe that you've probably spoken about before on your channel.
Yeah, well, Cheryl, she uses, what is it? I can't remember what she uses, but it's the other type thing.
Yeah. Peter Child. Or the Yandles.
I don't know. I'd get myself in trouble if I.
We can edit that bit out.
If I was
we'll edit that out.
That's fine. If I was going to talk about that, I'd get myself in trouble.
Yeah, that's fine. So we've got all those. We still do a lot on books, but we're also the only UK bricks and mortar stockist who have Easywood tools. So Easywood turning tools. You can get them online in the UK from Amazon, but we're still cheaper. So it's well worth knowing that you can get the tools and the accessory bits from us. And you know, you can come and talk to us about them, and depending on the situation, we can't necessarily promise you can have a go, but if you come on one of our turning courses, there's certainly that as an option. But we know about the different tips and things, and it's nice sometimes when you've got this kind of tool to be able to pick up and actually speak to someone, or even email in if you'd rather not.
This is the type of tool that you would buy once, isn't it? I mean,
yes.
You know, it's they're not cheap, but this, you wouldn't have to buy this again. No. The only thing you'd ever have to do is change the tip.
Change the tip. So you don't need a sharpening system if you buy these tools. No. So that's the price differential. So you could get away with buying 4 to 5 of these tools, and you only have to buy new tips. Whereas if you buy traditional turning tools, you need a sharpening system. The cost of a sharpening system, the time to set up and resharpen probably balances out. It's not too much difference in what you're paying, or in some cases this will work out cheaper, particularly if you did go, if you say you bought a Tormek, which is about £500 at this point in time, just for the machine, plus the jigs, you're very quickly going to work out this is a cheaper option, particularly if you only want to turn occasionally and that's not your primary hobby.
Yeah, but they do a kit as well, a 3-piece kit.
Yeah, nice little 3-piece micro kit. And then Mirka.
I love this stuff.
Mirka Abranet, the Mirka sanders are a fantastic bit of kit. Get things exceptionally smooth, very well, and someone's clearly not used the extractor on this because it's pretty much dustless. When you use that.
Well, the Abranet is it's a mesh, isn't it? And
well, that's an example of it. So you can see the grit it is on here. You can see the company. If you flip it over, you can see my fingers through it, and so all the dust goes through rather than clogging up. So you can use it a lot longer, and it doesn't sort of give you the problems that traditional abrasives. I use
Abranet myself, and it's brilliant stuff.
It's really good for turning and everything. A lot of pen turners will use this kind of size.
And you find this doesn't heat up as much as normal sandpaper,
because it's not clogging, so there's less friction.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, so we've also got a wide range of finishes. So we stock the Crimson Guitars stains. We do both their spirit and water based. They're a really nice product, but we also do a variety of other things. So Rich's new favourite, which we've just started stocking, which is Unicorn Spit, American brand product. So it's a gel product which can be watered down. You can use it on anything: wood, timber, canvas, material, pretty much anything. And we've got the full range on our website, so that's available as well. We stock Type Bond glue, all the good stuff. We stock resin. So we stock the Elichem resin system. They're deep cast for your river tables, and your total cast for your 1-inch pours. We've got the colours, and we've also got luminescent powders, and we'll be bringing the metallic range in soon as well.
Oh, cool.
And then carrying on, chestnut products, good staple product range from the UK, particularly good for wood turning and a lot of other finishes. Got Hampshire sheen, another good product, British made, Milliout, British made, Fiddies, British made, long-standing, particularly aimed at the furniture makers and restorers. And we also sell canuba wax from them and beeswax if you wanted to have a go at making your own finishes. So it's not just, oh well, I'll buy off the shelf. If you want to play around with it, you can. And we also stock Liberon as well. Where possible, we work with British suppliers. So we've got Planet in here who been very good to us, and we like to support them because all of their turning bits here are all made in the UK as well. So we do quite well out of those. I'll just draw attention to the Tarrant light pull drive kit again, because I helped design that.
Oh, did you? Oh, right, okay.
Well, this bit has been around for a long time,
Yeah.
but there's a video coming out about that I've made that you can see soon.
Oh, right, okay. Pen kits,
Yeah,
pen blanks.
pen kits, charwood pen kits as well. And this is something that it's exclusive to us and we brought in. We've got some quite nice high-end aprons.
Oh yeah, gorgeous.
So these are locally made. So this one's 100% leather, so it's probably a little bit over the top for working in your workshop. That's about £130, but it's really well made. This is a waxed canvas with leather accents, so this is really good. I took one home and tested it. So PVA glue, Gorilla Glue, paint, pretty much anything else. You can peel the glues off straight away because it's a waxed canvas.
So it's like a wax jacket. Yeah,
it's almost like a barber jacket kind of material, but it's lightweight. Fits nicely, and then we've also got, we haven't got a mannequin for the third one, but we've also got the cheaper end of the scale there, which is still very nice. So that's another waxed canvas with leather pockets.
Oh yeah.
An all black one there, traditional tie-up.
Yeah,
But
stitching's
all
great.
well made, all handmade, locally to us as well. Where possible, we're doing our best to support British companies.
Yeah.
And you can see that as we wander around. We can see your friends from GPS agencies as well. Got a lot of their gear in our little craft area.
So the Yandles are stockists of GPS, which is great. Pen blanks.
Got the project blanks down there, and a lot of the cylinders as well.
And I bought some of these last time I was here, or one of these.
Yeah, potpourri lids, pewter lids.
Yeah. Right. Okay.
And that's about it really. Yeah, we're stockists of Rockler and a variety of other companies really.
Cool.
So I hope you've enjoyed the quick tour round.
I think we have. A massive thanks to Dan for being our host and walking around and letting you guys see what happens behind the scenes as well a little bit, which you wouldn't usually see. Obviously. Right, thanks Dan.
Cheers,
I really
Richard.
appreciate
Thank you very
that.
much.
And there will be links to Yandle's website. And I'll try and get as many links to all the stockists. Oh yeah. Like Record Power, Triton, Rockler, everyone. There'll be links in the description to all these guys. So right, thanks Dan.
All right, cheers,
and,
Richard.
Well, I'll see you soon.
So is it going to work?
Right, yeah. So I've got the camera. I've got the step ladder. So
right.
Dan's just going to put my sticker up on the famous sticker wall. There you go.
There you go.
There's the bearded unicorn sticker.
Next to Atelier and all the others.
Told you it was a nice bloke, didn't I, that bloke?
All right. There we go. So we've got quite a good range of people up here, but there's still quite a lot of space. We've got all of that to fill. And we carry on round here as well. All kinds of people here, all around the world. And if you want to sticker swap, just send a private message to me at Yandles Limited, and just put a sticker swap and your name and address in there, and we'll sort something out for you. Cool.